Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Otsego City Council meeting. Tonight is Monday, August 24th. Audra, can you have the record show that our city attorney, city planner, city engineer, along with all council members, our assistant city administrator, and our city administrator are present this evening. At this time, I'll ask you all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our first item of business this evening is our open forum. This is the portion of the meeting where you can come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit comments to 5 minutes or less. Would anyone like to speak at this time?
Kathy Coles, 15613 90th Street Northeast. Here's this month's picture.
Dan?
Mayor, no update. We'll be sending another citation this week.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, we will close the open forum and move on to consider our agenda for approval. Does anyone have anything that they would like to add or delete at this time?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Ryan.
I would like to bring down item 3.3 and 3.11. We can make those items 6.1 and 6.2 respectively.
6.1, 6.
And with that, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to our consent agenda, a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Ryan.
I move to approve the consent agenda as amended. Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to planning. Item 4.1 is the MRD Christ Lutheran second edition, which is the Revolution Gym. Dan?
Thank you, Mayor. So Revolution Gym is proposing development of the property at the southwest corner of County Road 39 and Trunk Highway 101. It's a 10-acre property that's currently partially developed with Christ Church. The comprehensive plan guides this site for commercial land uses. Based on the existing church use of the property, it's zoned institutional district, but the portion to be acquired and developed for Revolution Gym would be rezoned to B1 retail business district. This is largely a commercial area at this interchange, reflecting the city's desire to have commercial development surrounding the high visibility and high traffic corridor along 101. So the applications include a zoning map amendment for the amendment to B1 district, a preliminary and final plat for the subdivision of the one lot into two, conditional use permit related to setback requirements, and site and building plans for the 3,500 square foot building. Along with the plat, we're also vacating the existing easements on the property, which will be replaced with the updated final plat. So the subdivision of the property into the two lots, both lots will comply with the minimum lot area and width requirements. There is no need for additional right-of-way to be dedicated. You have entrance ramp for Trunk Highway 101 on the east, County Road 39 on the north, and 88th Street on the south side. All of that right-of-way was dedicated either when the lot was initially platted or when Highway 101 was improved. Utilities are available to the property and will be extended in to serve the proposed Revolution Gym building. And with the property already being developed and having been platted previously, there is no park dedication requirement. The site plan basically complies with all the setback requirements of the zoning ordinance. The one exception is along the north side where the design of County Road 39 going into that single point interchange with Trunk Highway 101. That right-of-way is oversized, so it creates a large separation from the lot line to the actual roadway itself of 105 feet. So to make efficient use of the property and ensure that we can maximize the development of the site, reducing that to 19 feet from the required 30 feet is appropriate. Off-street parking is over and above what's required by the zoning ordinance. The planning commission did discuss the access and circulation within the property because it will be both Revolution Gym and a second tenant, ensuring that there's enough stacking space for drop-offs and pickups, and city staff intends to work with the developer on that. There will be pedestrian access to the trail on 88th Street. They've provided a landscape plan that meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance. We did recommend some additional variety along the west side of the building, which doesn't have any windows, so using the landscape to kind of break up the mass of the building. And then the requirements for exterior lighting and waste storage will also be demonstrated to comply with the zoning ordinance. We will have a performance agreement that goes along with the final plat development agreement. So the building itself is 35,000 square feet, excuse me. It's approximately 19 to 20 feet high, single story structure. Obviously, when you're doing gymnastics inside a building, you need some clearance. So that is provided for, but it's still within the allowance of the zoning ordinance. They're only showing wall signs on the building at this time, which are well within the allowance of the zoning ordinance. Again, the planning commission discussed that you could put additional signs both on the north and west and south elevations to increase visibility of the site. There's also opportunity for 2 freestanding signs, one on the north side along County Road 39 and one on the south side along 88th Street, which again, we can work with the developer on that. Overall, the planning commission really liked the appearance of the building. We were going to work with the developer on just adding some additional details or again, trying to mask the size of the building and its horizontal lines to be consistent with other structures in the area. But the planning commission really liked what they were seeing. So based on that, city staff was recommending approval based on consistency with the comprehensive plan, compliance with the city's development regulations. We do support the request for reduction in setback from County Road 39 by conditional use permit. Planning Commission held their public hearing to consider the application August 17th. There were no public comments. I highlighted the discussion that the Planning Commission had regarding the access and circulation, which we will continue to work with them on as they move towards building permit process. But the Planning Commission voted 7-0 to recommend approval of that subject to 18 conditions. So we have for the council this evening ordinance 2026-13, amending the zoning map, not the administrator, and 2026-74, adopting findings and approving the preliminary plat, conditional use permit, and the site and building plans.
Thank you. Does the applicant wish to comment? Any comments? We'll have you come to the podium and state your name. Have any comments?
I'm Kim Jacobson. I come from Independence, Minnesota. I'm the architect. We put together a plan. We put together a site plan. We're working very hard. We've got a lot of fill. So one of our goals would be to get the development agreement put together to start working on the dirt that we have to haul in. Once we get done with that, we would like to keep moving forward. Our goal is to get it in the ground this year. Whether we can make it or not will weather dependent. Everything else happens. But that's where we're working. Dan's been very helpful. So we've worked with him throughout the process and feel very confident we can put it all together. So I think that's where we're at. Anybody have any questions for us?
Turn it over to questions for the applicant or for staff.
I just have one question.
Sure.
For the developer, what's kind of your current perspective on the drive plan that you've designed?
Our engineers, everybody else feel that it's going to be a situation that internally they're going to handle it.
Okay.
Much better than the situation they have today. And that's being handled on a different site in their other building. So the administration, which is the building ownership, feels very confident that they'll be able to work with their people and not have an issue. We also feel that there are some opportunities to possibly widen it out, move it further north. We have an abundance of parking. We might sacrifice a few parking stalls. The parking is set up so that people can come, either stay with their kids or not. And then they do have events once in a while to where there would be people from other communities coming in and doing their thing and actually competing. So that's why the parking lot's designed like it is. But the main function of it is to bring in, drop off your student or come and park and go with your student into the building. So that's why it was done like that. I do think we can make it better than it is right now, going to be honest with you. So we'll try very hard.
That was gonna be my question, because that was talked about at the planning commission. So it's good to hear that you guys are continuing to look at that. And as you said, parents of those students will figure it out. And if administration is,
Yep, I believe I've already talked to the engineers and we've got some ideas and we just haven't put it on paper yet. We will. So.
all right. Any other questions?
I just had a comment. I don't know if it's for you or maybe Dan. Do we have any background on the Revolution gymnastics? Like how many people that it typically brings in? I think it's really exciting. With families and kids.
Paul's actually the person who would know. How's that?
Well, the grade level construction, we're out of Corcoran, Minnesota. They are about 50 kids an hour.
Wow.
They're busy. And that's 9 to 1 for kind of the younger kids. And then the later part of the day is like, I think between 3 and 5 or 3 and 8. So like 5 hours at night. So they run a pretty good quantity of children through the day.
Well, that's great. They're in Rogers right now, right?
Yep. Yep. And they're in their second site in Rogers, which they keep growing. So
Very good. The reason I was asking is, we're a developing community and people always want more restaurants, and you got all the families coming in. We have Foss Swim School, and it's just exciting times for that. So.
Any other comments? Then a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
That's right.
I will move to adopt ordinance 2026-13, amending the zoning map and adopting resolution 2026-74, adopting findings of fact, approving a preliminary plat for MRD Christ Lutheran Second Edition, and approving a planned unit development, conditional use permit, and site and building plans for Lot 2, Block 1, MRD Christ Lutheran Second Edition, subject to conditions as presented.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item 5.1, our general obligation water revenue bond series 2026A. We'll turn this over to our city administrator.
Mayor, Council, thank you. A number of items here included in this packet tonight, but all related to a bond sale. The bond sale is for the South Central Water Treatment Plant. Council has taken action on that at a few previous meetings. So I'll kind of walk through the memos section by section. First up is a municipal advisory service agreement. Northland Securities is the city's municipal advisor. This is outlining the terms and agreements of their work alongside the city in pursuing this bond sale. The agreement does outline fees in the amount of $71,600. If the city does decide to issue bonds, that will be payable out of those proceeds. If the city determines not to issue bonds, that fee is not payable and would be waived as part of that. So that agreement is included in your packet for consideration. The second piece is the PFA Credit Enhancement Program. So the state of Minnesota offers the ability to essentially borrow the credit rating of the state of Minnesota. The city of Otsego carries a AA plus credit rating. The state of Minnesota carries a AAA. So this is just 1 degree of difference. The cost to apply for this program is $500. But as you can see in the memo, there's potential interest savings ranging from $30,000 to $75,000, which far outweigh that application fee. So again, Northland is advising the council to consider applying for that. In the packet, there's an agreement for that program and also the application form that staff would submit pending council action. Next up is kind of some details on the bond. Again, at the August 10th meeting, the city council awarded this project to Rice Lake Construction and also approved engineering agreements for construction of that facility. Along with the actual water treatment facility, there are associated wells and water mains in the general vicinity of this project, but expected to be used for financing as part of this package. This is a long duration project. spanning from 2026 through 2029. For that, we will be issuing 2 bonds for this project. There are a number of pieces of this project that are currently based off of budget estimates. The big portion has already been approved, but by doing it in 2 issues, you're achieving interest rate savings over the time that you're not sitting on those bond proceeds. And also you can better craft that second bond issue to the amount that you need to fully complete the project. These assumptions were used in our most recent water rate study. So this is following that same path. Those have been accounted for in the budget, both short-term and long-term as well. So in the packet is a finance plan that generally outlines kind of a rough draft of what you might see with that. The total bond amount is $26 million. This would be paid over a 20-year amortization period. Some of the next steps would be on September 14th, the city staff and Northland would go through a rating call with S&P Global Ratings. We would get that rating back the week of September 25th. Currently, the date of bond sale is October 6th. This is not a routine council night. The primary reason for that is that October 12th is a holiday, both at the state and federal level. So there are no banking and bond markets that day. So we cannot sell bonds. You cannot consider award of those bonds at that meeting that night. So given that the project's already been awarded, construction will be initiating here shortly. We don't want to delay the delivery of those proceeds to be able to pay the contractors on that. So as of now, we are considering Tuesday, October 6th. Some of that's dependent on when we get the credit rating back and also the credit enhancement through PFA. So once staff in Northland fully have that, we would ask you to schedule a special meeting, most likely on that evening. Otherwise, the sale would take place on October 6th. We'd have a meeting that same night. Council would consider award of the bonds, and then that money will show up in the city's bank account on November 5th. So in the packet, there are multiple supporting documents. I can field questions from staff, or I'm sorry, from council on any of those. Otherwise, a motion is included in your packet for consideration.
Council questions for staff?
Madam Mayor, I don't really have any questions, but I just kind of want to reiterate some of the points that Adam made, because it's a big project and there's a lot of money there. But you know, with a general obligation revenue bond, what we're doing is taking the money from the users on the system. So this isn't we're in budget season right now, but this is not a property tax project. So people sometimes get confused with that. So I want to make sure we're clear that this is essentially paid for by users on the system. And we've already done the rate study, as our city administrator pointed out, that kind of understands how much we have to invest in the future. So having significant increases in rates in order to pay for this project is pretty unlikely, I would say, at this point. And because of the process that we went through for this particular facility, the CMAR process, which was new, that means that this project essentially can't go over budget, which is, I mean, it is technically possible to go over budget, but realistically, it doesn't really happen unless there's some scope change that, you know, the city as the council that we ask for. So overall, I think it's a great project. I think we went about it the right way. It's going to improve water quality significantly, I think, because by the time this is done, we'll have well house 3 done. Well house 4 was just finished up, or is kind of still being finished up. But so that will significantly, I think, improve water quality for the entire city for the majority of the season. So I'm looking forward to seeing this happen.
Any other comments? Why the motion would be in order?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Ryan.
I move to approve municipal advisory service agreement between City of Otsego and Northland Securities, Inc. and adopt resolution 2026-75 relating to the issuance of general obligation water revenue bonds, series 2026A, covenanting and obligating the city to be bound by and to use the provisions of Minnesota State Statute Section 446A.086 to guarantee the payment of principal and interest on the bonds, and adopt Resolution 2026-76 authorizing the competitive negotiated sale of general obligation water revenue bonds, Series 2026A.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to 5.2, there's a approval of claim list. I will recuse myself and turn it over to Corey for this item.
Okay. A motion that I make with this?
Mayor, council, the motion would just be to approve the claims list as item 5.2.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the claims list of 5.2.
Second.
Hearing their second, do we have any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Sorry, I know it's new. I just wanted to commend the mayor on her decision to recuse herself from this agenda item. That is the correct decision to make. State law and our own city code are unambiguous. Council members must disclose a potential conflict of interest and step aside. That is how we protect the public trust and the integrity of this council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Guess we'll all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
Roger, you have that. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 6.1. Ryan, you had pulled up, that's item 3.3.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I oppose this action because our city is able to receive excellent service from our existing contract providers at a price point that is cost efficient for the taxpayer. If approved, this item will increase the total cost for owning our own fire department to $23,600,205.76, which is more than 17 times the cost of contracted fire service.
Okay, thank you. Motion, Corey?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve pay application number 20 in the amount of $224,084.79 for the work completed on the fire station project.
Second.
Motion by Corey, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. Item 6.2, Ryan had pulled, that's item 3.11.
Yes, Madam Mayor, for the reasons previously stated on the record, I will be voting no.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the quotes as outlined above to authorize procurement of firefighter protective equipment in the amount of $195,800.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. All right, moving on to updates. First is Heritage Preservation. Corey?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. OHPC met last Wednesday, the 19th, and discussed a couple of the events coming up, one being the Prairie Festival, September 12th, and then the cemetery tour on October 29th, and registration's available on the Park and Rec
Great.
site. So
Perfect. Thank you. Next is Park and Rec. Michelle?
We met last Tuesday, so 22nd, I think, or whatever the date was last week, Tuesday, I'm sorry. And
18th.
the 18th, thank you. And we toured the new fire station and had a brief meeting afterwards, and really everyone's super busy preparing for Prairie Festival and the typical stuff that's going on as far as parks maintenance and stuff like that. So
Next is Planning Commission. Ryan?
Madam Mayor, the commission met and recommended approval for Revolution Gym, which was just approved tonight. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 8th, due to the holiday.
Thank you. Next is public safety. I will take this one. We got an update from Dylan Ferguson. He's with the Office of Emergency Medical Services. He was present that evening, and it was actually a really long meeting. We had 3 of our ambulance providers, Centricare, Alina, and Elk River were all present. I think he's trying to quiet his phone. We talked about, the history of how providers were chosen for who got their maps, and these goes back to the 70s and 80s, and actually it was interesting because Steve from Elk River ambulance had talked about, he was part of those discussions back in the day. And I quote Dylan's words, said that we're the perfect example of an in-between city. We're at the end of everyone's runs, basically. We talked about reviewing call volumes, response times, and he did share with us that in the state statute, there's no standard for response times outlined. So I think that was very interesting for all of us to hear. There was a lot of questions from the commission members regarding that, just because there's obviously standards for every other, fire departments, the police department, but there's no real time that they're actually required to respond to. So that was interesting. His office has very little authority, he talked about, but he's the keeper of the books. Again, these are all quotes from things that he had said. We discussed ways that we can actually look at changing and eliminating or retracting. And he said, based on statutes, it's not really likely that you can do that. In 2025, he had shared his data that he's been given. And this again is given by all of the providers that would provide services for here in Otsego. He had 7% as red critical, 60% yellow, and 30% green. His office also has 0 authority over each of the operational matrices for each of those departments. And in Minnesota, there's 294 active licenses in the state of Minnesota for ambulance service. And of the 294, half of them are owned by municipalities. So it was, this gentleman was very, very knowledgeable. He was rambling off statutes. I can agree that me and Ryan were both scribbling feverishly. He just knew these statute names. So again, I thought it was, he knows his stuff, and I appreciated that he took time to come visit with us and just kind of lay it out. Does it, maybe answer some questions for us or make us feel better about certain things? I would have to wait till the next meeting to kind of debrief from the group, because by the time Dylan got done talking, they were trying to finish up other business, and we talked about applications that had come in. Chief shared with that, and then they talked about which Jason maybe talked about e-bikes, how many calls he had received for e-bikes. So it was a very long night, but very interesting information. And so Ryan, you were there. Was there anything that I missed?
No, I guess I would just add that, talking about some of the statistics, because he had pulled it together at I think the chief and interim chief Scott's request. Mm-hmm. And he looked at some of the numbers, and he, just kind of from his perspective, that Otsego doesn't have any more or less calls than cities typically our size when it comes to EMS. And the sort of the response time that is in there, he didn't see any deviation from what he would expect of a city of our size, which is, it's good. I think that's definitely a concern that the commission has had for quite some time. Correct. So to have some numbers behind that, I think is really helpful. But I would just echo your statements. It's fun to watch someone who really knows their stuff just talk. Mm-hmm. So it was an interesting meeting. It was a lot of fun.
And he did share, to piggyback on some comments that you just said, Ryan, he did share that he would provide the chief with some data points to those cities that were similar sizes to us. And again, he said, Otsego is unusual, but not the only one with having multiple providers for us cities. I tried to make sure that's exactly what he said. So in my notes that I could write that down. So I will be interested to see when that information is provided to the chief and to share it with the group.
Madam Mayor, I concur. While I was in there, it was amazing with him just popping out these statutes. And correct me if I'm wrong, it wasn't there a mention of the state of Minnesota not requiring licenses about ambulance?
No,
Wasn't there something about that?
we had to be licensed. Everyone has to be licensed that run, but he talked a lot about municipalities versus private. Is that what you're referring to?
I think so. I was kind of walking out at that point, but
Sure. And then he talked about ALS and the BLS and funding for these things and what it costs, and
he was very
Um,
impressive.
it was very impressive. So thank you for having him come and talk with us and pull data for us that we have those checkpoints. I mean, and that was one of my questions is, so you get this information, what do you do with it? And he laughed and enjoyed, I think, our question, because when he said there's no authority in certain things that they do, it's just, my question was, well, then what is the office doing? But he spends a lot of time with legislators in his office and from both sides, trying to improve this. And it was in 2025 is when this office was changed to. So this is a fairly new office based on a lot of complaints, it sounds like. So that's my update. All right, we are still under city council reports and updates. Does anyone else have anything? All right, we will move on to staff reports and updates. Sabrina.
Thank you, Mayor. Just some quick recruitment updates. So we have a few open positions right now. So mechanics, we're hopefully going to be finishing up and doing interviews in the next couple weeks. We received 11 applicants for that, which was better than we have in the past. So that's really exciting. And then we also have our full-time firefighter and full-time fire captain positions. So we're at 87 full-time firefighter positions or applications, which is pretty amazing. It's going to be a lot to go through. And then our fire captain, we're sitting at 11. And then just as for if anyone's interested in joining the fire department as part-time, we are at 88 applicants and we're going to be doing a review later this year. So as we have active training going on, we won't be doing another review of applications. So I get that, me and Jake get that question quite a bit of why we haven't heard back on their application, as we haven't been doing another review, as we can't just start people mid-training. So but yeah, so that's been exciting. Other than that, have some new faces at City Hall, Terry and utility billing, and yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam.
Mayor, council, thank you. Staff has been working pretty closely with school district officials as they're preparing for the referendum. They have extended the option of them attending a future council meeting, either on September 14th or October 12th. Just making sure that's okay with the council, that you would have me schedule them on a future agenda. Likely the October 12th date is kind of what I'm leaning towards at this point, but wanted to check with you to make sure you're okay with that at a future meeting.
I would have a question on that. I kind of brought this up before, but since there is an item that would be on the ballot, what kind of issues do we run into if we advocate for or against that item that's on the ballot as members of the council?
Wouldn't it just be a listening session?
Mayor, council, this would be a presentation from the school district officials to the city council and the public in attendance, either in person or on Zoom. Isn't necessarily any sort of advocation for or against it. It's information sharing from the school district. So they're trying to get out in the communities that the district covers and make sure that people are educated so that they can make their own decision on the referendum coming this fall.
Thank you.
Okay. Just a reminder, city offices will be closed on September 7th for Labor Day. Did you say that?
No. Did you want to call the closed session or did
I'm sorry, what?
the closed session? For the
Mayor, we did that during the special meeting, but at the special meeting just before this, the council did schedule a special meeting on September 14th at 5:30.
Audra.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just to remind everybody that the photo contest ends on September
September 1st. So get your photos submitted by 5 p.m. that Tuesday. So you got a week.
Perfect. Thank you. Dave.
Nothing to report. Thanks, Mayor.
All right. Dan.
Mayor, nothing to report.
Okay. Ron.
Thank you, Mayor. We held a pre-construction meeting for microsurface project, part of that 2026 street maintenance. It actually covers 80th Street, CASA 19 west to Cadler, then Cadler from 80th Street north to 85th, and then 85th west to the border with Monticello Township. And they will be coming into town scheduled September 3rd and September 4th. And there'll be a lot of striping that goes along with that. We stripe half the city every year, and that was part of their project. So you'll see stripers around town.
Okay. Perfect. All right. The chief said he has nothing to report. We'll invite Sergeant Olds.
I was just in a meeting last week, and one of our captains at the sheriff's office looked over and said, I heard a rumor that you have, looking at me, you have your own nameplate at the city of Otsego.
You do?
And I mentioned, I now have more than one, and he rolled his eyes like, so anyway, I think our big thing right now is going to be our back to school stuff. I know I gotta mention it every year as we do this. We really try to enforce the school bus arm violations. We're going to be out there. We'll literally have squad cars following buses to kind of get the ball rolling on that and to get the extra visibility out there. And again, we're really at the point, especially up here, that every bus has a camera on it, more than one camera. And some of the ones in the SDMA district have like 3 or 4 of them on them, so that we can make sure we get license plates and the violations very clear. If anybody had paid attention during last year and some of the legislative sessions, the special sessions with the statutes on the buses specifically, the statute actually changed 3 different times over the course of the last probably 20 months. Trying to evaluate how we can do it, be really aggressive with the charges, but at the same time, it kind of goes back and forth with, how much distance needs to be there and reaction times. And so all these things kind of got considered. So I think we got a pretty good handle on it for what we're going to be charging the county attorney's offices on board with how we're going to be handling them. So that's going to be big. We're going to spend a lot of time as far as, watching for crosswalk violations and spending some time at the schools. We're going to be spending some time the main routes to and from school. So really trying to get out there. And certainly that's usually when I get a lot of phone calls or emails about how the routes work. Certainly the schools evaluate and they try to cooperate with the school resource officers on mainly the drop-off times. We've had conversations about Otsego Elementary and how their drop-off process worked, and they've tried to completely revamp that over the last couple of years, and it is working really well. There's certainly other schools in the county that we struggle with a little bit, and we have to put a lot of effort into kind of presence and trying to keep everybody on task. So I know the schools spend a ton of time trying to get an efficient process for pickup and drop-off times, so we're trying to get out there and helping whatever way we can without feeling like an occupation force at the same time. So that's kind of where we're sitting, I think, right now. Like I said, just kind of working on the back to school stuff. Our school resource officers just had about a week and a half training down at our training center to kind of get the ball rolling on everything that they want to focus on this year. So it's really cool to see, especially we have the largest school resource division in the entire state. So it's kind of interesting to see that big of a group all showing up there. We're like, these are all our just SROs. So it's kind of cool to see. On that, I don't know if I have too much else. Unless you have questions.
Does anyone else have any?
Corey's got e-bike questions, right?
I have no e-bike, but I was going to mention you have your own baseball card too.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can get those printed.
Yeah, I made him.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. All right. Well, if no one else has anything, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jason. All right. If we've got nothing else, then a motion to adjourn would be in order. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tina, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The meeting is ended. Thank you all for attending.